Shinsuke Nakamura turns heel on Monday Night Raw, attacking World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. A brand new feud for LA Knight is revealed on Monday Night Raw. Chad Gable is the brand new #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Kofi Kingston makes his return to WWE TV after being off of it for 5 months. Sonia Deville opens up on her torn ACL injury. We've got the ratings for Friday's SummerSlam Go-Home edition of SmackDown on Fox. JD McDonagh is back involved in the storyline with Finn Balor on Monday Night Raw. Plus, Logan Paul and Ricochet reportedly had plans for KSI to be involved in their SummerSlam match. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about Shinsuke Nakamura turning heel last night on Monday Night Raw. Last night's August 7 Raw main event saw Cody Rhodes teaming with Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura against the Judgment Day's Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. Now, originally, Sami Zayn was set for the match, but he was attacked by JD McDonagh during the show, at which point Nakamura volunteered to step in. While it seemed like an act of goodwill, that ended up being far from the case. In the final moments of the match, Damian Priest used the Money in the Bank briefcase on Rhodes behind the referee's back, after which Sami Zayn emerged from the crowd with his arm bandaged up to attack Priest. Meanwhile, in the ring, Balor was holding the briefcase and seemed primed to use it as a weapon on Rollins, but instead was met by a big boot from Seth, which knocked him down. This led into a crossroads from Cody to Balor for the good guys to pick up the victory over the villainous Judgment Day faction. While there was continued tension after the match between Rollins and Rhodes, in the end there was a joyful moment between the pair after the aid of Peacemaker Sami Zayn. The duo seemed to be cordial enough to celebrate together after shaking hands. However, as the camera panned from Cody to Seth to Sami, all celebrating, Shinsuke Nakamura was noticeably not perched on the ring rope with the others. Rather, as Rollins got down from his corner, Nakamura landed a big Kinshasa to the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Rollins. To the shock of Zayn and Rhodes, Nakamura calmly walked away smirking, while the pair and fans alike were left surprised. Nakamura's heel turn was something that had been teased for a few weeks, but it was definitely made official during Raw last night. Now, as I mentioned, since then, Nakamura has actually responded and maybe explained a little bit of his actions. He's now taken to social media to share WWE's video of him ambushing Rollins. Nakamura replied with a photo of a Japanese samurai katana sword, which can be seen on social media. Again, it remains to be seen if Nakamura is going to be the next challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship, where this new heel version of Nakamura is going. What are your thoughts on the heel turn? What are your thoughts on where this could be going? Should Shinsuke Nakamura not only be given a shot at Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship, but is this the time for WWE to finally pull the trigger and give Shinsuke Nakamura a World Championship in WWE, or has that ship sailed for the King of Strong Style in WWE? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comments section below. Now, LA Knight, despite being on SmackDown, brand split be damned, appeared on Raw last night and seems set for a feud with The Miz. The next feud for LA Knight has been revealed on last night's episode of Raw. There was a good old-fashioned promo battle between two talents who can clearly go on the mic, as Knight and The Miz had words and the insults grew personal between the pair in a spicy exchange. In one zinger, Miz told Knight that he was an Attitude Era fanboy cosplaying in Miz's ring. Knight then retorted to The Miz that the difference between the pair was that The Miz is safe and an easy bet because he does what he's told and would allow himself to get kicked around and out of the locker room, whereas LA Knight does not. After Knight challenged The Miz to a fight, Miz feigned that he was leaving, but he ultimately turned back for a cheap shot from behind and then had a short physical exchange that ended with LA Knight landing his finishing move, Blunt Force Trauma. Now, if this is going to lead to a match between the two remains to be seen, or if it's just a case of WWE capitalizing off the popularity of LA Knight, specifically coming off the Slim Jim Battle Royal victory at SummerSlam this weekend. That remains to be seen. What did you think of the promo exchange? What do you think of a potential feud between LA Knight and The Miz? And what did you think about LA Knight being on Monday Night Raw in general? Is this just another case of WWE not being able to stick to a brand split? Or at this point, do you even really care about being outraged about a brand split that clearly does not exist? Chad Gable, shush please, thank you, is the brand new Intercontinental Championship #1 contender. Alpha Academy's Chad Gable humiliated Intercontinental Champion Gunther by beating his 5-minute challenge on last week's Raw, and while Gunther restarted the match and ultimately got the victory, Gable will have the opportunity to not only get his win back against the Ring General, but also take his title in the process. On this week's Raw, Gable won a 4-way match to become the #1 contender to the Intercontinental Championship. The match, set up by Adam Pearce, also involved Matt Riddle, Tommaso Ciampa, and Ricochet. The match was fast and furious, with the advantage changing hands on numerous occasions, but in the end it was Gable who delivered a German suplex to Ciampa and bridged into the winning pinfall victory. It was a hometown win for Gable, who hails from Monday Night Raw's host city, Minneapolis in Minnesota, and celebrated with his young son after the match. WWE, of course, is notorious for denying their talent hometown victories, but Gable bucked the trend and will now take on Gunther, who is approximately 1 month away from breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record of 454 days as Intercontinental Champion. Will Gunther beat it, or will Gable be the one to finally break the record streak and the legendary Intercontinental Championship run of Gunther? Now, last night saw the return of Kofi Kingston and The New Day to Monday Night Raw. With the Viking Raiders set for a match, their opponents remained a secret until there was a surprise return. The New Day returned as Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston made their entrance on the show. Kingston has been out after sustaining an injury and requiring ankle surgery, returning last night after 5 months away from in-ring action. In the end, The New Day would win the match, with Kingston hitting a Trouble in Paradise into Woods' Limit Breaker finisher, with the latter picking up the win. Elsewhere on Raw, as mentioned, there were plenty of other matches, but is this a possible future tag team opponent for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? Despite the fact that Kevin Owens is currently on the shelf, could the New Day be future challengers, and would you like to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn face off against Woods and Kofi Kingston in the future? Of course, we know that Big E is unlikely to be returning to the ring anytime soon, if ever, as he revealed over SummerSlam weekend that some doctors and spinal specialists have told him to never return to the ring and never wrestle again. Now, one person who's now dealing with an injury is Sonia Deville, and she's opened up about this major injury. Sonia Deville has opened up about the torn ACL she suffered during her match on the July 28 episode of SmackDown. The nature of the injury means Deville will likely be out of action for at least 6 months, possibly longer. After the story was originally broken through TMZ yesterday, Deville has now commented in a video on her own Twitter saying, quote, "What's up, guys? So obviously the tag team titles are cursed. I'm just kidding, but like not really. Anyway, as all of you probably already know and heard, I have torn my left ACL last week in my match on SmackDown against Bianca and Charlotte, and obviously I will be out for an extended period of time due to the fact I have to get surgery tomorrow. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone who has sent their well wishes and messaged me and everything. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot. Obviously, you guys will know that I've been working the last 8+ years in the WWE and in my wrestling career to obtain a title of some sort, and I'd finally gotten my hands on the women's tag titles with Chelsea, and I think we've been champs for 20-something days. So obviously, it's super bitter to say that it's come to an end due to an injury, especially being that it's my first injury in wrestling, or really in sports in general, and I've been a lifelong athlete since I was 5 or 6 years old. So obviously, it's super disappointing and could not come at a worse time, but I don't really think any injuries come at a great time, and that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles. But what I will say is that my life has kind of been a journey of trials and tribulations, just how so many others have been, and we all go through ups and downs, but something that has always been part of my character and who I am is I love being tested, and I love testing my willpower and my strength and my mental and physical durability. So I feel like coming back from this injury, although it's unfortunate, I feel like it's going to give me a bigger motivation and just passion for what I already love doing, and that's being in the WWE. So, I love you guys. I wanted to thank you guys for all your support and tell you that I'm going to be back sooner rather than later, and I'm going to be ready to put my hair up and square up. As far as addressing the situation, WWE did acknowledge Deville's injury on Raw, but there was no explanation of what's going to happen next with the Women's Tag Team Championships, and there was no appearance from Deville's tag team partner Chelsea Green on the show. This isn't the first injury issue that's been surrounding the Women's Tag Team Championships this year, with the likes of Dakota Kai, Ronda Rousey, and Liv Morgan working in a division around a title situation and then suffering injuries. As it still stands at the time recording this video, Deville and Green are still the tag team champions, obviously not for long. I guess Possibly on Friday on SmackDown, we'll find out more information about what WWE plans on doing with the women's tag titles. If we get any more information on that moving forward, of course, we'll let you know. Speaking of SmackDown, we have the ratings for last Friday's SummerSlam Go Home episode on Fox. The latest SmackDown was the Go Home show before SummerSlam 2023, but the episode didn't lead to a surge in viewers compared to recent installments. According to WrestleNomics, the August 4th edition of the Blue Brand's weekly show was watched by 2.248 million viewers on average. This was slightly down from last week's show, which pulled in 2.323 million viewers. The report also states that the Go Home edition marked the lowest viewership for SmackDown since the May 26 episode. That said, despite the flat rating, the advertiser coveted 18 to 49 demographic increased from last week's 0.61 rating, albeit by 1%. Of the total viewers who tuned in for that episode, 812,000 of which were aged 18 to 49. The August 4 edition of SmackDown boasted plenty of action that built more hype for Saturday's premium live event. LA Knight took on Sheamus in a singles match, while Jey Uso faced his brother Solo Sikoa ahead of Tribal Combat Showdown with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Elsewhere, Ridge Holland and Butch took on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. United States champion Austin Theory battled Cameron Grimes, and Io Sky collided with Zelina Vega. Grayson Waller also made an appearance hosting his Grayson Waller Effect talk show with Damage Control as the guests. While the show didn't bring in a record high viewership, next week's show could attract more viewers, as the WWE Universe will be keen to witness the fallout from the SummerSlam main event. Of course, Jimmy Uso betrayed his brother and helped Reigns pick up the victory, marking the latest twist in the ongoing Bloodline storyline, or some are calling it certainly a saga. Now, last night on Raw, we saw a storyline that was reportedly paused, get picked back up and resume on WWE television. Now, some are saying with Vince McMahon on medical leave indefinitely, it seems that maybe a recently halted storyline is back in action, with Triple H now firmly back in charge. After previously teasing the inclusion of JD McDonagh in the Judgment Day storyline back in June, he instead disappeared from television, and WRKD Wrestling reported a few weeks ago that plans for his involvement were, quote, halted. However, JD McDonagh was back on last night's edition of Raw, hanging around backstage with Finn Balor. When Damian Priest approached to discuss Judgment Day business, Balor told Priest that he had known McDonagh for 20 years, so anything Priest had to say to him, he could say in front of McDonagh as well. While they attempted to discuss Judgment Day's recent discord, Rhea Ripley intervened to encourage unity. Meanwhile, JD threw in some unsolicited advice, telling the faction that it seemed like the tensions between Finn and Damian increased since the latter became senior Money in the Bank by capturing the briefcase. It was, quote, time to get rid of it, as the segment was coming to a close. Meanwhile, Damian Priest wondered aloud why JD McDonagh was talking at all. A bit later, JD McDonagh was seen backstage attacking Sami Zayn, who was set to be a part of the three-man team along with Cody Rhodes and obviously Seth Rollins to face the Judgment Day in the main event. Rollins later revealed that Zayn wasn't going to be cleared because of the attack, which is when, as we mentioned, Shinsuke Nakamura arrived to offer to replace Zayn, which Rollins accepted. Of course, the problem was that eventually Nakamura ended up attacking the World Heavyweight Champion before the night was said and done. Now, finally, Logan Paul vs. Ricochet opened SummerSlam this weekend, but reportedly there were kind of differing plans for the match. At WWE SummerSlam 2023, Logan Paul defeated Ricochet with a pair of brass knuckles around his hand in the opening match. Paul concluded the night by traveling to his brother Jake Paul's boxing fight against Nate Diaz to be in his corner. Another social media star who is very well connected to Paul is KSI, who is Logan's business partner for the Prime Energy drink and appeared at WrestleMania 39 to get involved in Paul's match with Seth Rollins. Speaking with Ariel Helwani of TNT Sports, KSI commented on Logan Paul's SummerSlam match against Ricochet. He said, quote, I have seen a lot of WWE. It was one of the best matches I've ever watched. He is insane. We had ideas of KSI being involved, but it wasn't going to work. Now, there's been no word on when Logan Paul will make his next WWE in-ring appearance as of this recording, but you never know what's going to happen with Logan Paul in WWE. But there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.